Hi, everybody.
Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome. We're going to give you guys a few minutes to jump in. And if you are watching the replay, welcome to a new chosen moment.
Chosen moment.
And it's going to be with Stephen Robinson.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about relationships. Stephen is here, and we're going to let him in.
All right, let me add it. Okay. In. There we go.
It's coming. Hello,
Hello,
Stephen.
hello.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Can you
Oh,
hear
wait, we
us?
can't hear you. Can you hear
Oh, you
us?
can't hear. Hold on, let me see. I can hear
Oh,
you.
that's the download of the microphone.
All right, can you ladies hear me?
We can't hear him.
Oh, okay. We might have to take the microphone off. Yeah, there's this weird thing.
It's a weird, like it doesn't allow you to
Yeah,
hear.
apparently we can
We're
hear
having technical difficulties, clearly.
you guys. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Okay, awesome. We were
Okay,
trying
great.
this thing with microphones, but obviously
It's a fail. It's a fail. It's a fail.
Okay.
welcome
Technology.
and thank you for making
Yeah,
time.
thank you. How are you
Yes,
today?
I am doing absolutely amazing. How about yourself?
I'm
Great.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Awesome.
it. Appreciate it. Let's
So
see.
thank you
Some
guys
folks
for
in the room.
joining. We have a limited time today because Stephen has to catch a flight, but we couldn't miss this moment.
Right.
To have a male perspective on what it means to date and court and to be single. This is gonna be amazing. So we're not gonna talk a lot today. We're mostly gonna listen to you, Stephen.
You're gonna listen to
Dropping
me.
nuggets.
Exactly.
And in case you haven't, follow him. We're gonna pin it here at Stephen Robinson on Instagram. Just great videos on there. I was like, this is some great information for those that quarantine singles need to know. Even after quarantine. But okay.
Yeah, but and also I think just like you sharing your testimony. Yeah. So very quickly, introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and then while you do that, we're gonna tell people where to find you.
Okay, great. Well, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Stephen Robinson. I am a Christian relationship coach. I've been coaching now for about 2 years. So I coach couples, married people and singles when it comes to relationships. And I coach from a biblical perspective. I know that's probably not the most popular perspective when it comes to relationships, but I truly believe that God's way is the best way of doing anything. So with that being said, God created relationships, and I believe he knows exactly how a relationship works. So when I coach on relationships, I go based off of biblical principles.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's amazing. So just very quickly, as you're watching this, guys, if you have any question, because we don't have a lot of time today, don't wait till the end to ask your question. Just drop them right as we talk, okay? So question number one, Stephen. What is the definition of being single according to the Bible? And what is the definition of dating and courting according to the courtship according to the Bible?
Okay. So the definition of being single according to the Bible, if you look at First Corinthians, I believe it's First Corinthians 7, they talk about how the Lord gave two gifts. One was to be completely single, right? Which means you're not married. So there's two versions in the Bible. It's you're single or you're married, right? So biblically, if you're not married, you are single. And a lot of people, I would say the world, they kind of now categorize, if you're in a committed relationship, your boyfriend and your girlfriend. However, the Bible doesn't speak about that, right? The Bible speaks strictly on single and married. So that's the perspective of being completely single. Now, I do understand that, times have changed. So when you're getting to know somebody and you've decided that they're a good fit for your life, what happens is we say, okay, well, that person's my boyfriend, that person's my girlfriend, and we give them what we call a temporary title, right? Okay. And when you give them these temporary titles, what happens is you're awakening. I don't remember the scripture itself, but it says, don't awaken love before it's time, right? And so what happens when we start to label these things, we start to awaken love before it's time. So yes. So then you have the married definition where you become one, you become a union. And I see my boy Married as One on here. He specializes in unity and marriage and communication and things like that, so shout out to him. But yeah, so there's only those two definitions. Now when it comes to dating and courtship, neither one of those are in the Bible as well, right? But there are a lot of things that could be said about. I'm sorry, say again?
I said it's not even
there.
Yeah, so neither one of those are in the Bible as well, right? So what you're looking at is the Bible does say a lot about how we are to form relationships with people, right? They talk about the greatest commandment, right? Is love, the Christ Lord God with all your mind, heart, soul, and mind, and all that good stuff, right? And then it says love your neighbor to the same degree that you love yourself, right? And they talk about treating other people like brothers and sisters in Christ, right? And they talk about friends, right? So that's the thing. When we're getting to know somebody, we're building a friendship. So a lot of people, they put dating into, hey, look, I need to be your boyfriend, I need to be your girlfriend, this, that, and the whole nine. But dating, all it is you're getting to know somebody to see if they're a good fit for your life. You're building a friendship with them. Right now, if we go into the courtship process, right? The courtship process is more of a, hey, look, you are a good fit for my life, and I'm pursuing you for the outcome of marriage, right? In the Bible, the word for like engagement, I think it's called like betrothal or something like that. I'm sorry, I probably am not saying it correctly, but that is the terminology for that. So during the courtship, when you're doing courtship, right, the way it looks like in the Bible, although the word is not in there, you're doing these things. You're not spending time with the person alone, right? You're spending time with that person in community. You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry?
I said that's interesting.
Yeah, so you're spending time with that person in community, meaning like you guys are doing quote unquote group dating, right? So you're hanging out with other friends, you're hanging out with parents and stuff like that. So that is what that's how we can look at courtship from a biblical perspective. And dating from a biblical perspective, per se, like I said, it's not in the Bible, is just getting to know someone to see if they're a good fit for your life. And too many times we take that and we say, okay, well, we're dating someone. This is my girlfriend. This is my boyfriend. And that's how we kind of generalize it today in modern dating.
You think because is it that labels are a thing and that people have this inclination of this is, I'm feeling this way about somebody, so I have to label this rather than kind of exploring what that relationship actually means?
Absolutely. I think labels is such a big thing right now in today's world. So if you're like, hey, I'm really feeling this person, I got to put a label on it. Just continue to build the friendship with them. If you look at, and I'll use the example of Ruth and Boaz, right? They was never girlfriend and boyfriend ever, right? But he knew about her character, not necessarily through getting to know her, but because of all the other people who knew her, right? So he said, well, wow, this is a woman of God. She's a good fit for my life. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to take her hand in marriage. You never once seen, Boaz said, you know what? Ruth is my girlfriend.
They went to hashtag.
They're not, never once did Ruth say, hey, Boaz is my boyfriend. You kind of understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. There was no status change on Facebook.
Yeah. So one of my question is actually, like how we are used to like, nowadays we want to get to know the person. What is your perspective on getting like meeting somebody, giving it like you say 2 or 3 months to be, group dating, which is the process that you call courting, and then directly moving into marriage? Because the difference is like nowadays, like, we do marriage and we take time to know people even 10, 20 years later and people still divorce. Versus our parents before, they just get to know each other and they jump into marriage. What is the difference?
All right. So the difference with that is, right, so when we're getting to know someone, one of there's like 3 C's that I like to say that you should look for when you're getting to know someone, right? That's cause, character, and chemistry. And so what I mean by that is you're looking for someone to see if they have the same cause as you. Meaning, hey, if I'm a Christian, right, I'm not going to go out and date an atheist. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. So you want to make sure that they have the same exact cause as you, right? You guys are running in the same direction. And I like to use the analogy of, have you ever been handcuffed to somebody, right? So I'm handcuffed to somebody, and then you're handcuffed on the other set of handcuffs is on another person. If you guys are going in two different directions, what is that going to do? That's going to hurt your hand, right? And that's exactly what happens in relationships. If you're going in two separate directions, that hurts. And so it's not enough to just say we have the same cause, but now you got to look at the character, right? Because anybody can say, oh, I'm a Christian, but yet does their character display, Christ-like attitude? You see what I'm saying? And you can look at that. There's 9 fruits of the Spirit. So when you're evaluating someone, you can look at, from a biblical perspective, hey, look, is this person gentle, loving, joy, peace, all of that stuff? Do they contain all of that stuff? So when you're getting to know someone to see if they're a good fit for your life, you can look at that as well. And then, another one is chemistry. Do you enjoy being around that person? Are you guys able to hang out? You see what I'm saying? Because you don't want to be in a boring relationship. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say that there's 3 things to evaluate, and I believe that they cover all of that. But before, just keep God at the center, keep praying and saying, hey, look, this is the desires of my heart. I desire to be married, and just when you're praying on that, and you meet these people, just evaluate, just continue to build the friendship, and you will see somebody's true character, that how they treat somebody that they're not attracted to.
Right. And I think too, even in enough time being in that atmosphere with this person, you'll be able to see them naturally in that environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So quick question. We don't have a lot of time today, guys. Like, we just have about 30-40 minutes for the live today. So if you have any questions, drop them now in the comments while we have Steven. But my other thing that I want to touch about is, like, give us some practical steps on how do you right now with the COVID and the whole situation do a relationship? Is online dating a thing? Like, can we talk about
is online dating a thing? Absolutely. Online dating can be really good. But so there's pros and cons to online dating, right? The number one con to online dating is people lie. You know what I'm saying? People lie. They put up things in their profile that is not true. And not to say that can't happen when you meet somebody in person, like if you were, I don't know, anywhere. But the main thing is, when I looked it up, they said 82% of profiles lie.
82.
On dating apps. They can either lie about their age, they can lie about what they do.
Can we get some hearts for the 82% people?
Right. So I'm not saying that online dating is bad, because online dating, you can meet some great people there if they truly have a genuine love for Christ. So with that being said, it's not a bad thing, but you have to be cautious. You have to pay attention to the signs. So if you're going to meet somebody, what you want to do is you want to make sure you meet them in a public place, right? You don't want to meet them because you don't know their character, right? Yeah, you talk on the phone. Right. You could talk on the phone with them for, however long, and they can show you whatever it is that they want to show you. You see what I'm saying? But with that being said, make sure you meet them in person, in a public place. That way for your safety and their safety. And then just make sure, like, you guys are doing things in public areas. And then, like we talked about, group dating, getting to know his or her friends. You see what I'm saying? Like, Pastor Stephen Chandler, he calls this the lay of the land. He says, scope out, who you're interested in, talk to their friends and stuff like that, and just kind of get an idea of who they are. You see what I'm saying? Because there was another study that I seen. They said that a person can wear a mask up to 18 months, right? Which means, it's a long time. But they're sitting up here and they're telling you,
it's a year and a half.
They're telling you, and they are doing things to make it seem like this is the person who they really are. When that's truly not. So that's why I say, take your time and evaluate that person's character. You know,
Right.
evaluate that person. You don't have to rush into girlfriend boyfriend relationship. Like I said, girlfriend boyfriend is never in the Bible, and we use the example of Boaz and Ruth. So with that being said, get to know that person. The Bible talks about friends, building a friendship. A solid friendship is
Right.
the key to any relationship, right? As long as you have the character of Christ and you are a true friend, right? Because after the beauty fades, if you read in the Bible, they talk about, you know, beauty is fleeting, right? And all of this other stuff. What do you have left after the beauty's gone?
Listen.
Yeah.
So I have, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I had a question because you mentioned about boundaries. And so let's say you've moved through this dating period. You're now in courtship. What are the boundaries that people should have or at least be aware of before moving to that next step? Because we know that like that fine line is very, you know, we know what that's like. So, you know, what are the tips that you can give folks about that?
All right. So one of the boundaries, right? One of the boundaries is sexual purity. That should be a huge boundary, right?
I was gonna say it, but I don't want to say it. I was gonna say it, but I don't want to say it.
Sexual purity should be a huge boundary because the Word of God, they talk about sex is a great thing, right? Inside the right context. So with that being said, when you introduce sex into a relationship, then comes the feelings. You've awakened love before it's time. Now people's hearts are invested into it. You know, people can be playing games with your emotions, and what that does is that damages you know, people's it damages people's hard character feelings. And now, like, if somebody says, okay, well, you know, we're going into this courtship phase and they end up sleeping together and it doesn't work out, now you know that person is extremely hurt. So I think that's
ties.
I'm sorry?
Let's not even talk about soul ties at that point.
Okay. Yeah, so I've heard a lot about soul ties, right? I've heard about it. I've been doing my research on it. I'm not like an expert on soul ties. Pastor R.C. Blakes, he's like
he's
expert.
good.
Yeah, he's an expert on that thing. So with that being said, I hear that, you know, there's these soul ties where you know, you'll be fantasizing about like let's just say you have sex before you're married with somebody else, right? And then you get married to this woman or you get married to this man. Now you're fantasizing about this other woman or this other man that you was with when you're supposed to be, you know, one with the person that you're married with. So that's how they've explained soul ties. You know, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on all of that. Hopefully God gives me revelation when it comes to that, but that's kind of how I've heard it being explained in a sense.
But I think it was very important what you said about the emotional component of it. Not even the soul tie aspect of it, but just emotionally how you then carry yourself after you've crossed that boundary. You know, whether it's something that you continue in a relationship or not.
And just quickly, what are some of the red flags? First, on dating online, and second, when you have somebody, like what are some of the signs and some subtle thing that we can like spot, you know, like right away and be like, this is not a great fit, or
go gadget fake.
So one of the things like that would be an immediate red flag is somebody who lies, you know, flat out. Because I mean, if you look at my book, the very first chapter in my book is truthfulness, right? So how are you going to build a solid relationship on lies? You can't, right? That's not even a real relationship because you started off with a lie. So now the person that's in this relationship, they did not have the opportunity to choose, hey, look, I'm going to deal with this or I'm not going to deal with this. It's almost like you're forcing them to deal with this, meaning like, oh, okay, well, if you say, we'll just use age as an example. If I say I'm 34, right, and there's a woman that I want to talk to, and let's say I am really 34, but say that there's a woman that I want to talk to that's 40, right? And then I sit up and she says, oh, I only date, you know, or I only want to be with somebody that's 40 and above. Now, and I go to her and I say, oh, you know, I don't look 40, but you know, you get what I'm saying. And I tell her, oh, I'm 40, right? Now, what am I doing? I'm starting off the relationship with a lie, right? And now if I'm lying about that, what else could I possibly be lying about? So lying is a huge thing. Someone who has anger problems, right? Where if you set a boundary, and
Right.
that person gets angry about your boundaries, and especially if it's a boundary that's set to honor God, that's a no-go. You know, somebody that doesn't even believe in God
That's a
is,
no-go, guys.
yeah, somebody who doesn't even believe in God, that's a no-go. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are some boundaries when you're online dating. Like I said, I understand that you're not going to know everything about a person, but you're not going to know everything about a person, but be truthful. You see what I'm saying? I like to call it hot, be hot, honest, open, and transparent. You see what I'm saying? And there's a difference, right? And there's a difference between honest and transparent and open and transparent, right? So the difference
What's
is,
different?
Yeah.
so if you ask me a question, I can be honest with you. I can tell you the truth, right? But transparency and openness requires, it doesn't require you to ask me anything. It requires me to say, hey, look, you know, this is what's going on, and I'm telling you what's going on. So there's a difference between honest and transparency.
That's good. Yeah.
That's very good.
You know, that's amazing.
Wow. Okay, so
Cool.
other things, like a friend of mine pointed out, like your chapter 6, and I thought that was very important, especially because I am like I did my love language, and quality time is my number one thing, right? So in your book you talked about investment. What does that mean? Like investment in terms of relationship, the chapter 6. Like, guys, if you have not yet got the book, please go to the handle that we pinned, and you go to his bio. In the bio you have the link to get the book. The book is amazing. Chapter 6 talks about investment. How important is investment in a relationship for a long-lasting thing, and what does it mean to invest in a relationship? Because money is one thing, but like, what does it mean to invest in a relationship?
Yeah, investing your time, investing your emotions, right? So in order to build a solid relationship, you have to invest time in the relationship, right? And that could be anything from talking on the phone, FaceTiming, spending time you know, in person, just those type of things, and just being how intentional about doing those things, right? And so and when I say emotions, I'm not talking about, oh, like the emotions of love or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about, you know, do you have this person's best interest at heart? Like, is your emotion tied to their growth? You see what I'm saying? So those are the type of things that you want to do to build a long, solid foundation in a relationship. Because if you're in a relationship and you get married, right, and you're no longer spending time with your partner, what is that going to do? That's going to cause problems. You're not going to notice, you know.
Oh, what's going on?
We had a freeze moment. The
Oh,
devil
wow,
is a
guys.
liar.
While this is coming up, please don't forget to drop your questions in the comment book. I think we've lost Steven for a little bit. Hopefully he will come back. Tell us what you have been thinking about the life so far, and what are your, you know, what is your experience when it comes to relationship? Like, what is dating, for example?
Oh, I think we lost him.
We lost him, but I think he's gonna be back. So are you guys for or against online dating? And tell us why you are for or against online dating. Come on, guys. So let me talk about me personally. So before the COVID-19, okay, I was against online dating because I thought this is just too virtual. This is just not real, and people are lying and all these things, right? So recently I was challenged by a friend to try it. So she just made it fun, and we made it like something that was agreeable for both of us, when we just make it like a fun time during the day. And I'm discovering that I'm actually enjoying it because I'm not expecting much from it, right? So I think, let us know, what do you think about online dating?
Yeah, I think it's like it depends. It depends on personalities. As Stephen was just saying before, you know, research has showed that 82% of people lie on online dating. So there's an aspect of authenticity. So you do have to really be mindful and wary of who you're talking to, the kind of situation. I was totally against it at one point in my life too. Like, how do you build an organic relationship through people are putting up a facade. You don't know who's who. But the thing is, did we find Stephen again? Okay, we're waiting for Stephen. So the thing is that it is something that you just have to be kind of open to it, and you are able to move behind that wall of actually building relationship, but you have to also be in a healthy place in order to do that, because otherwise it's just going to be, it's a hot mess. But I mean, if it's a thing, people do it, and I've seen people, you ever seen those Match.com things? I met my husband, and I'm like, really?
And there's a lot of people that actually meet online. I have a lot of friends I met online. But like Shaniqua just said, like the most important thing is to take the relationship past the platform. Right. Maybe meet there, but continue the relationship
with boundaries, though.
Out of there. That's a good point. That's a really good
I'm really
point.
glad that he
Hey
said
guys,
that.
like I just want to jump in and do something very impromptu. Is there anyone here who want to speak about the subject of relationship? We're gonna let you guys in very quick and just share your experience. We have never done this before, but I think this is a great moment to do it. Like we can just pick anybody randomly and have you guys talk about relationship. If you are single or not, if you are dating or not, what are your boundaries? What are your view, your perspective you want to hear about?
Or if anybody who's had good experience as far as establishing a dating courtship process, that would be definitely an interesting aspect as well. So we have someone that said communication is the key to relationships, which is the truth. The truth. And I think one thing that when Stephen was talking about investment, I think as far as just emotional connection, it's also your own emotional intelligence. You have to understand that communicating is important. Yeah. And if you have issues as far as communication just because of your own past and things that you've gone through, it's going to make it more difficult to communicate with anybody else and to establish relationships. So
very, very true.
And that's with anybody. That's, with coworkers, friends, anyone that you may encounter. So
let's see.
That's definitely a good thing. What questions do we have? I did see here it said the goal was to be transparent. That's honest, open, and transparent. That's one that I'm going to have to remember. Definitely.
So let's see if, I think Steven is still not on here.
I don't know.
Communication issue. And I saw that married one has, if he's still here, we might invite him in and see what he has to say about it. He was enjoying the conversation. Let me see.
He's still here? Might be gone?
He's gone.
Oh. I like this. Okay.
So let's see. Oh, I'm going to invite Shamara in, actually. Let me see. Shamara.
Is she here? Okay.
Shamara, are you up to join us to share your testimony? We shared earlier.
Okay.
Show your insecurity.
That's a
really
good point.
One.
Yes, and flaws.
That's really
Listen,
good.
it's more than just a Beyonce song. Okay.
Josie, Danny. Oh yeah, that's
my girl Josie there. Yeah, definitely.
Flaws. Listen, Josie, do you want to join us to tell us a little bit more about that? Let me know if you want to join us. We will be more than happy to hear about how you went through that. Have you been there? Have you have a phase of walking through your insecurities and all that?
Right. No, that's good. I think that's good. I think too the whole concept of relationships as well is dealing with fear. I think a lot of us are fearful. It's fear and insecurity to a certain degree. It's what people will think about me. I think there's a lot of the transparency thing was great. I think because it does. You have to be vulnerable and be
vulnerability.
You have to be vulnerable in order to be transparent. You definitely have to be vulnerable, and I think that is a struggle area for a lot of people. It was definitely a struggle area for me as far as just being like vulnerable, where I'm at, what things I haven't done, what things I need to do. Because it's one thing when you know them and you're kind of dealing with them, and it's another thing for somebody else to tell you. Yeah, the same thing.
Well, Judy, we'll be happy to hear from you. Let us know when you're ready.
I think, I agree. We should definitely do a part 2 with Stephen.
Absolutely.
Because I was going to say that's even now. Because I think his book is great. It's great. I think it's definitely worthwhile. And I think Josie's right there.
Here we go.
And connecting. Hey, Josie.
Hi. Sorry,
how are you?
Here.
You look great. You look great.
I was in the house and I was relaxed. That's why I say just give me a minute.
That's great. This is Friday evening. This is the whole purpose.
And happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Happy Juneteenth to everybody.
So, tell us a little bit. Are you single?
No, I'm married, but I've been single for 7 years before me.
Since when have you been married?
2016.
Oh, great.
So
What
yeah,
was your process? Walk us through it. What was your process
it
from
was
single to married?
it was actually very beautiful, but still also painful, because sometimes I think when you are, especially when you're a young lady and when you're a young man, you are expected to be already perfect, already,
That's such a good point.
done. And especially for me, because I'm Italian, and so I carry those traditions with me, and those also unconscious bias that come with the being married. So it means that we both have a perfect life, we both already work hard, so we have everything, and then now we're ready to settle. Instead, like with my my situation was that I was living in another country. So when I came to the United States, I had to start from the beginning. I couldn't work, and so this make you vulnerable, especially from an economical perspective. You cannot provide. And so you kind of like have to deal with the insecurities, the flaws, because when things are perfect, everything is perfect. It's so easy to be married, happy, in love. But then when there's an economical struggle and a cultural struggle, because me and my husband come from different backgrounds, it's hard. It makes you feel like, oh, okay, wow, this is complicated, this is difficult. So it means that I have to work every day for it. It's not going to be easy, because we both have two very strong personalities. We both have two ideas. And I started to talk to my coworkers when I started to work with I was fascinated also by the different perspective. And I realized that, it's like women, we put a lot of effort in finding this perfect man. And in being perfect, like being like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get my degree, I'm gonna be perfect on paper, and my degree, independent. But then these things crumble when you fall in love, because sometimes you're not perfect and the other person is not.
Perfection is kind of a myth. I don't think you're never perfect, you're never ready, you're never prepared. I think
it's a false pretense. I think it's one of those things that
I think it's more like what society expects us to be, especially with the whole pressure of being like an independent woman and all those things. But I think it's more for me. I think the most important thing is to work through your identity and your inner securities, and make sure of what you want and what you don't want in a relationship. Because until you work that out, everything that you do is picking up like things that you think that you want, until you have it and you realize that this is not making me happy, right? So I think one of the most important things, like you were talking about insecurities and flaws, is really important to discover who we are and what we stand for. And that's very true. That's one of aspect that I think I was hoping to be able to touch point with our guests, is the finances in relationship, right? But but I guess because we were just talking about dating and courting, that you didn't really like talk about it. But like, that was really good to join us, like really on the spot.
Thank you.
And for sharing
I love listening to you, and I also love the way Nally is always engaging and brings the conversation on another level. So it's a pleasure.
Thank you, Amore. Thank you, Amore. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you
Grazie.
so much.
Thank you.
Next week. Stay with
See
us,
you.
guys.
Bye.
We're gonna stay a few more minutes if anybody has another question. But before we join, or if anybody come in, I want to talk about Stephen was also talking about sexual purity, right? So celibacy or being virgin, if you already knew somebody and you decide to change your life. Are you ready to like share? Oh, Shamara share. Okay. Shamara is going to join us very quickly. If you haven't read it yet, Shamara shared her testimony
on the Chosen She blog
this week.
Yep.
And she was talking letting it go.
Hey,
Shamara.
Hey, you guys. I'm in Chicago, and we've been on the road all night, so that's why I couldn't join right then and there.
No worries.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see this view.
Ooh, Chi-Town.
Chi-Town.
Amazing.
We're gonna go out.
We were just telling people, you know, like so far, how have you enjoyed the conversation with Steven before the whole?
I've really enjoyed it, and I love what what you guys were talking about, with the wholeness, because I believe we, spoke about that a little bit briefly. How I know when people think like getting into a relationship, they think that they're supposed to be whole, but I think you should be on a pathway of wholeness, because deliverance takes place.
Important.
I believe that deliverance takes place with 2 or more people involved. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm not expecting like perfection. I'm not expecting to be quote unquote whole when I, meet the person.
I think that's a misconception though, even like in the church and not in the church. People, you think, just as Josie was saying, people think that it's this aspect of having it all together and not realizing that it's this process of development. Yeah. Where your vulnerabilities will meet up with their vulnerabilities, and you have to learn how to kind of do relationship together and work on that concept of wholeness. So I completely agree. I think that's absolutely true.
And I also want to point out, when he was talking about boundaries, I think the areas where I know that I've messed up in is when I have dated secretly and didn't share with people.
Accountability.
The low key. Okay.
I don't think I don't think it's wise to do that, especially as women of God and men of God as well. You shouldn't be like, I'm a,
Yeah,
accountability network.
That's really great that you share that, Shamara, because that's something that we are not transparent enough when it comes to relationship.
Right.
It's being able to say that, like we know that we're doing something wrong, but still we just don't share with people that, okay, have like a circle of people that will hold us accountable, or just to tell, girl, this is wrong.
But that goes back to the emotional intelligence part, because if you're not emotionally healthy to hear from someone that's saying, no, this is not what you should be doing, that you have to do it in a way that's low key and then will get you caught up, then that speaks to a bigger issue, which means you shouldn't be in that environment in the first place.
Yeah. And then another thing, we have to realize, transparent moment, that we are spirit and natural. So a lot of times we're not always tapping into that spirit side of us. Sometimes we give, and I don't want to necessarily say give in to the flesh, but sometimes when we're in situations or environments and it's something that our flesh likes and desires, we'll throw that whole spiritual thing away. And I don't care how spiritual you are. I don't care how spiritual you are. When that moment comes,
I don't care.
Seriously, it gets to the best of us. Like, it doesn't matter. So you just really have to be careful and just be very honest and open with people that you trust and love, and know that they have, your best interests at heart, and that they don't want to see you go down that road, down that just that pathway where it's like it's impossible sometimes to return from. So you really just have to be careful. So like for me in this season that I'm in, I know, I have to be like, hey, I know that I'm still building and I'm not strong yet in this area. So hey, this is what I'm doing. This is where we're going. You have permission to say, hey, screenshot your messages. That's another level of accountability.
It is another level.
Because here's the thing, we can't forget the oil that's already on our lives, and we don't want it to be tainted at all by someone who may not be.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That's true. Yeah. Thank you, Shamara.
Thank you, Shamara, for coming on, jumping on and sharing.
Yeah, and you guys, like, Shamara shared an amazing testimony about her journey and, making the wrong choices and just like being on this whole journey of being whole again. So if you have not yet read it, please run to the chosenship.love to read it. And thank you, Shamara, for trusting us with your life and your story. We were very honored.
Thank you guys so much, and I love you guys so much.
Love you too. Enjoy Chi-Town.
I will.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for joining us. Like, unfortunately, Steven was not able to stay through the whole conversation.
We will do a part 2. And we'll hopefully have the time to come back and get some more nitty gritty as far as the rest of his book. And I think it's, Trusting Love. I was going to say Truthful Love. Trusting Love. So if you do go on to his handle, Stephen L. Robinson, you can find out more about him, his ministry, and also a link to his book in his bio. Definitely worthwhile and worth checking out. So hopefully we'll be able to do a number 2 with that.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us this week, and we will see you next week. I see Charlotte that is here.
Hey.
Next week we're gonna be talking about friendship. We're gonna be talking about what it means to be a good friend, and what are the kind of friends that we are to people around us. It's gonna be an interesting conversation with Charlotte Nicole, who is on
here.
Hi Charlotte, hi girl. And she has a movement called the Friendship Movement. If you have not yet, check it out. Shirley, if you could type that in for people to check you out, that'd be great. See you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being with us through all, and for your patience and staying despite the fact that Stephen conversation broke. So we will see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Juneteenth. Be safe.
And enjoy your
and
summer.
Enjoy.